Chevy Chase has reduced millions to laughter, but his backstage antics haven't always been as funny. Once upon a time, Chevy Chase was considered the funniest man in America. His work on Saturday Night Live and National Lampoon made him an Emmy-winning comedy icon. However, he's now gained a new reputation, and it's not a good one. Allegations of bad behavior constantly dog him, and reportedly his behind-the-scenes antics have made him a pariah more than once. What happened to cause such a downfall? Chevy Chase was born as Cornelius Crane Chase, a fairly pompous-sounding name and rather funny in itself. Perhaps he was always destined for comedy. His family ties ensured he had plenty of options available to him once he grew up. The Chases were wealthy New Yorkers who could trace their ancestries back to the Mayflower. However, Chase's early home life may not have been great. In his 2007 autobiography titled "I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not," he claimed that his concert pianist mother beat him as a child. Not only that, but her second husband allegedly abused him too. It was, Chase claimed in his book, emotional and physical abuse that sometimes bordered on torture. Come 1975, Chase became one of the founding members of the now iconic Saturday Night Live. It catapulted him to stardom. In the course of his work on the show, he ended up rubbing shoulders with powerful people, including President Ford, whom he parodied on screen in displays of silliness and slapstick. But even during the very first season of SNL, cracks were starting to show. One of the most famous skits the show ever provided was Word Association, starring Chase alongside Richard Pryor. It was a satire of racial attitudes at the time, and partly due to its use of the N-word, it quickly became infamous. But behind the scenes, Pryor and Chase weren't remotely friends. In fact, Chase was apparently friends with very few people on SNL. Allegedly, none of the cast or writers liked spending time with him. In the 1985 book Saturday Night, A Backstage History of Saturday Night, authors Doug Hill and Jeff Weingrad described Chase as a viciously effective put-down artist who was arrogant and a drug addict to boot. Chase left SNL in the middle of season 2, citing that he was doing so for love. In fact, he claimed he wanted to move to Los Angeles with his girlfriend, Jacqueline Carlin, whom he ended up marrying. In his autobiography, he wrote, "I left for a girl that I was in love with. It had nothing to do with lucrative film deals awaiting me." However, as it turned out, Chase's film career would last longer than his marriage to Carlin. They married in 1976 and were divorced by 1980. But in 1983, Chase's fame only rocketed further with his role in National Lampoon's Vacation. And before too long, he was earning millions of dollars with every film he did. Yet, among people who knew him, Chase was desperately unpopular. When he came back to host SNL in 1977, he allegedly physically fought Bill Murray while the cameras were off. Reportedly, the fight broke up just seconds before they came back on. The two apparently didn't make up again until 1980, when they starred in Caddyshack together. But over the years, more serious accusations about Chase's conduct on sets began to come out. In the mid-80s, Chase returned once more to host SNL and was allegedly highly homophobic to Terry Sweeney, the show's first openly gay comedian. Among other things, he suggested a running joke where Sweeney was checked to see if he had AIDS. In the book Live from New York, An Uncensored History of Saturday Night Live, first published in 2001, Sweeney spoke out about what had happened. He was really furious that he had to apologize to me. He was just beside himself, and it was just awful. He acted horribly to me. He acted horribly to everyone. Live from New York contains several other anecdotes about Chase, few of them good. According to Sweeney, Chase even insulted Robert Downey Jr.'s father direct to his face. He said to Robert Downey Jr., "Didn't your father used to be a successful director? Whatever happened to him? Boy, he sure died, you know. He sure went to hell." Downey turned ashen. An allegation of sexual harassment was also made against Chase in the Live from New York book. Famous actor Will Ferrell spoke about it, claiming that during a February 1997 episode, Chase had been going around the room and systematically riffing when he got to one of our female writers. He made references like, "Maybe you can give me a hand job later." In hindsight, I wish I'd gotten up and walked out of the room. Although he didn't walk out of the room, Ferrell did get Chase banned from the show. During the filming of that episode, he also witnessed Chase smack fellow cast member Sherry O'Terry in the back of the head, and it was the last straw for everyone. That year, Chase was banned from SNL. He did return for a few cameos afterwards, but things were never the same again. When Chase was roasted for a Comedy Central special in 2002, only a few SNL members showed up, and the roast got downright vicious, far more so than usual. One of the few repeatable comments came from Greg Giraldo, who said Chase was living proof that you could literally snort the funniness right out of yourself. After that, Chase mostly stuck to guest star parts on shows like Law & Order and Family Guy. His biggest role at that time was a villain on the show Chuck. It was a massive come down from his movie star days, but in 2009 an opportunity fell into his lap, a major role in the sitcom Community. Community could have spelled a major comeback for Chase, but it wasn't to be. His character, Pierce Hawthorne, was a tiresome old bigot, and unfortunately there was barely a distinction between the character and the actor. According to his co-star Joel McHale, Chase had no problem saying the N-word on set. Speaking to Howard Stern in 2013, McHale claimed that Chase explained to him that Richard Pryor told him it was okay to call him that, but that didn't fly with the diverse cast of Community, all of whom quickly began despairing of Stern. When I would try to talk to him about his attitude, he would just try to fight me. He physically wanted to fight me, McHale related to Stern. Things came to a head in 2012. Chase and Community showrunner Dan Harmon began feuding so badly that the story leaked onto the internet. Chase left Harmon an obscene voicemail, and Harmon retaliated by putting it online. By mid-season 4, the actor had left the show and filmed a future cameo on a different set entirely. His former co-stars had little good to say about him afterwards, with Donald Glover publicly accusing him of racism in 2018. Is it too late for Chevy Chase now? It might well be. Reportedly, a Community movie is in the planning stage without Chase's involvement. He hasn't had a leading role for many years, and come 2018 he made headlines for fighting yet again, this time with a driver who cut him off in traffic. If he can make his way back, he has a long way to go.
Check out these other videos from Let Me Know. If you haven't made the move to subscribe to our channel, all you need to do is click on that red subscribe button. Thank you for watching.